Hey there, I'm Kelsey with PoofyCheeks.com, where I share hundreds of free cut files you can use with your Cricut, Silhouette, and even your X-Carve cutting machines. Excuse my voice today as I am a little under the weather, but I'm going to show you how to make a makeup bag using this little canvas makeup bag I purchased at Michael's. And I am using my Cricut Joy with the mat because this is a pretty small project and that seems like the perfect size for this bag. I have the Watercolor Rose January exclusive HTV, that's a mouthful, from Happy Crafters, but this heat transfer vinyl is beautiful. And so they print it and it does come with the edges you have to trim off. So just grab a pair of scissors and trim off that white edge. Let's speed this up a little bit, and no need to show you how to trim with scissors. I'm also going to use this holographic heat transfer vinyl. Both of these are from happycrafters.com, and I will link them down below in the description. So I'm going to get my paper cutter out because this makes it a lot easier to cut straight lines and straight pieces of this heat transfer vinyl. What you may not notice from this video is that there is no carrier paper, that clear sticky carrier paper that would sometimes come on heat transfer vinyl. Most of the time it comes on heat transfer vinyl, but with this printed, it comes separately. So instead of mirroring your image, you're actually going to leave it as is when you cut it out. So here in Cricut Design Space, I have my Beauty is on the Inside cut file, also linked below in the description. This is a free cut file from PoofyCheeks.com. And I've loaded it onto my canvas. I'm going to drag from the corners or up in the top. I'm going to size it to the size I want this design to be. I'm actually not going to have enough room on the mat for the top lines and the bottom line, so I'm going to hide the bottom line or the word inside. To do this, I'm just going to select everything one by one and click the little eyeball on the right hand side. Once I have all that hidden, now I need to separate the outline, the black outline, from the pink lettering so I can cut them separately. So I'm going in now and I'm hiding all of the black so it only leaves the pink, and the pink is going to be our floral heat transfer vinyl. Next step is to select all of it and click on weld. So when we send it to the mat, it is laid out the exact same way we saw it on our screen. I'm going to use the mat, and like I said, do not mirror it for this heat transfer vinyl. And then I'm just going to select the iron-on, load the mat with the material, print side up into my machine. It's going to make sure the mat is aligned. It'll tell you that on the screen, and then we'll be able to click on go to get this whole cut started. If this is your first time using Cricut Design Space, it will show you on your screen the percentage of the cut that is done all the way until it reaches 100%. Now what I want to do is go back to my canvas. I'm going to quickly group all of the black outline together for Beauty is on the Inside, but I want to cut that the word inside out with that watercolor paper while I'm working with that. So I'm just going to weld these different layers together. Beauty is on the is going to be its own separate welded group, and I'm going to hide it. Then I'll do the outline for the word inside, and I can hide that, and it leaves me with the pink wording for inside, which I'll cut out using the Rose Watercolor HTV again. So once I get all of those different groups welded together, I'm going to cut this on the mat. Again, I am not going to mirror it. Clicking the iron-on setting, loading the material into my machine, and then pressing go. So of course I've sped this up. Depending on how intricate your design is, can take a few minutes to complete the cut. Once done, you unload the mat, you can peel it off, and back to the drawing board. Back to the drawing board. This time we are using the holographic for the outline. We do want to make sure that we are mirroring the image for this. So we have the beauty is on the mat. Click that mirror button. And for this holographic material, it actually needs a pretty good pressure. So I don't see here in these quick selections the holographic vinyl option. I'm going to go to see all materials and scroll down until I get to the iron-on holographic. Now I know from experience that the setting that they have it defaulted to is not good enough. It just does not cut all the way through the material. So I go down to custom materials in the bottom left corner, and I'm going to scroll through this list until I find that holographic iron-on. It is set to 135. I actually have it set to 185. So to change that, you're going to go to Edit on the right-hand side of your material. And then you can drag this little bar up to where you want it to be. If 185 still isn't working for you, then I would try bumping it up by 5 or 10 each time until you find what works. Now, every time I pick the holographic iron-on, it is going to cut at 185 until I go back in and change it. So I love this. A lot of people don't know they're able to go in and manage their settings like that. So back to it. Let's continue cutting. With this, we have to put the cut side down instead of up like we did with the HTV rose vinyl. Most vinyls are like this because they do have that carrier paper on them, that clear sticky layer. So that clear sticky layer needs to be against the sticky part of the mat, and it cuts from the back, and that's also why you have to mirror it. I have everything cut out. Now it is time to trim and weed the design. With a holographic, you're going to weed from the back, and you're going to just weed through until you see the vinyl that needs to be left behind along with that carrier paper. This stuff's pretty delicate because it is a thin cut to get that border, so I had to go really slow and kind of just be really careful with it. It definitely helps that I adjusted the cut setting though. It made it so that I was able to go a lot quicker. Because this heat transfer vinyl does not have the carrier tape, you're actually going to weed right side up, just like if you were weeding adhesive vinyl. I try to find a good area and stick my weeding hook in there and then just kind of pull up and around from there. I like to trim any excess so I can use it for another project. And then I'm just going to weed out the inside of the letters, and I just so love this print. I think it does work best on thicker letters, so that's why I made the words beauty and inside pretty thick for this design. And now, just like adhesive vinyl and adding transfer tape, this heat transfer vinyl comes with the carrier paper, and you're going to cut a piece that fits to the design and lay it over the top. I'm going to speed this up a little bit, but what I did was I lined the two beauties on the inside pieces up, centered with one another, took off that carrier tape, laid it over top, and then squeegeed over the top of that just to make sure everything is sticking pretty well. Then while I had it flipped upside down, I peeled off the backing. so that it looks just like the holographic heat transfer vinyl that is sitting on the carrier paper, and it will easily stick to my makeup bag. I'm gonna just give it a quick press without any of the design on there to get any moisture out of the bag. That makes sure that the heat transfer vinyl adheres better to whatever material. I definitely make sure I do this with t-shirts too. I'm gonna center my design onto the bag upside down because I wanted the zipper to stick out so that it didn't hinder the pressure from my heat press. I'm noticing that it did adhere on the word inside because it's kind of towards the middle of the heat press, but along the outside, the word beauty didn't quite adhere that great. So I just rotated it to another spot of my heat press and tried again. This time it worked out pretty well, and so I just slowly peeled it while it was hot. That turned out great. So the next step is to get the holographic, which pretty much made a mess during weeding. And I applied that with the heat press a little bit off centered. I kind of did it kind of like a shadow on the lettering. And the way it turned out, I think, is absolutely stunning. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. We can't wait to come back next Friday and share another new tutorial with you. So if you have a request, whether it be Cricut, silhouette, sublimation, just drop that in the comments so that we can do videos that you guys are going to love and be able to use for your own crafting. Thanks for joining me. Bye.